Okay, is this working? Hello, hello, hello. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Okay, Bros Knows episode 60, and we are following up today on what we talked about on Wednesday. So Wednesday we talked about the stock market, we talked about Dogecoin, and we talked about AMC and Naked Brands and GameStop and all those things and the craziness that was happening in the stock market and everything that was going on. And was this right? Was this wrong? Whatever was happening, that's what we talked about on Wednesday. And we're following it up on it today because today is Friday night. So that the new schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's what it's going to be. Today wasn't a great day. Wasn't a terrible day. I don't know where my phone's at, so I can't check my Robinhood. But today was, well, let's start with yesterday. Yesterday was the big day. So do you remember in history class when you learned about the Revolutionary War and you learned about the battle of, what was it, Lexington and Concord, where the war hadn't started yet and both sides were lined up from each other, just kind of like staring at each other, like the good old classic bar, you hit me, I'll hit you first thing. And then from some church steeple or some building, some second window building, came a shot. And that was a shot heard around the world. That was the shot that changed everything and started the Revolutionary War, right? Well, Robinhood was that person up in the second window. That were the person that fired that shot because both sides, the hedge funds, the giant companies, the big banks, everybody like that was staring at all these people that were going to trade all these stocks and are going to take all these positions on Thursday morning. And that was the big plan. And Robinhood swooped in, and it's not just Robinhood, but they're the prime example. They're the one that everyone counted on. They're the one that so many people were trading on because it's so available. And we're going to get to it here in a second. But Robinhood said, nope. Thursday morning, everything started taking off. AMC to the moon, Dogecoin to the moon. All those things started happening. And Robinhood said, we're going to halt all trading on these platforms with no explanation, no anything. It just said on your app, it just said you are unable to purchase. You can only sell your position in these shares. And so I wake up about 6:30 every day. So I woke up right when the market opens. And naturally, I'm going to roll over, especially after the podcast I had just done with me and the podcast I just did with Sean. I roll over and I grab my phone and I'm like, let's see what happened today. Did the plan work? Did everyone coming together work? Is it working? What's happening right now? And I look at my phone and it's down big. It's down bad. That's my new saying, down bad. And it's down bad. And I'm like, what happened here? What's going on? And so I turn to Twitter and everyone's like, they won't let anyone trade it. They won't let anyone do anything. They're stopping the market. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I go back into the app and I click on it and it says trade. Buy is grayed out. Gray and in red is the sell option. And it gives you the option to sell. But down below it says you can sell your current position in this stock, but we are not currently taking buys for it. And it's like, there's no way this is happening. There's no way this is possible. Is this legal? And again, you turn to Twitter. That's where you just get all the most current news, right? So you turn to Twitter and everyone's saying the same thing. There's no way this is illegal. Dave Portnoy, there's no way this is legal. Everyone's saying it, but there's nothing that can be done at this point because Robinhood has shut it down, which is the number one platform for the people like me, for the people that were part of this movement. That's the number one place people were going because you can set up your account. Most of us already had an account, but you can set it up your account so quickly. You can get things going. And they said over half of Robinhood users had a position in GameStop. And so it's like, this is crazy. And so you start looking at it more and more and more, and everyone's shutting it down. It's everyone but like Fidelity basically will shut it down. TD Ameritrade had done it the day before. Everyone's like, that's crazy, but they're kind of a different thing. They have hedge funds. Like they're different. Robinhood, the people that built their company on the financial markets should be for everyone. The financial power should not be to only the wealthy and things like that. That's the statements that they say. That's their platform is built to try and help people. I mean, it's named Robinhood. You're supposed to take from the rich and give to the poor, right? That's the whole philosophy behind it. Their mission statement is at Robinhood, we believe the financial system should be built to work for everyone. That's why we create products that let you start investing at your own pace on your own terms. My terms were I wanted to trade AMC on Thursday morning. I wanted to do something with AMC. I wanted to do something with Naked Brands. I wanted to do something with Nokia, and I couldn't. So that's not what their mission statement delivered. That might be what they say, but that's not what they delivered. And they stayed quiet about it all day long. They didn't say a word. They didn't say, this is why this is happening. They didn't say, we can't afford to do what you guys are doing right now. They didn't say, these trades are costing us more money than we can afford to give up. They just kind of went about it like nothing happened. They didn't release any statements. They didn't do anything until way late in the day. Their CEO went on TV and he just said, we're trying to protect our people. That is not how the stock market works. That's not what the people are asking from you. They're not saying, please protect us right now. I think that there was a known risk in what people were doing, especially going against the hedge funds. There was a known risk. There was a risk associated with it that people were willing to take. And it wasn't for Robinhood to tell them no. But that's exactly what happened on Thursday morning. That's exactly what happened all throughout Thursday. And the funniest tweet I saw, because AOC and Donald Trump Jr. both tweeted about how this can't be illegal. This can't be something that is allowed in the American stock market. You can't just shut it down. And somebody tweeted, if you have AOC and Donald Trump Jr. on the same side of an argument, then you have messed up beyond belief. And that's so true, because you never catch them agreeing on something. But here we are. They're both saying this is illegal. We need an investigation into what is happening right now. And we didn't get that. We haven't gotten it yet, at least. But I think it's coming. I think that it changed a lot that day. And Sean and I said it on his podcast, and I believe I said it here too, but we promised that Thursday would change the financial industry. We said it's either going to be the little guy gets his W and it changes the pace of everything, or the big guy's going to get bailed out again, and Goliath is going to win because people are going to bail him out. And that's exactly what happened. But then the result of that is exactly what we said also. And it brought the people together. It brought people together that were upset and that were angry and that weren't mad that they lost a few $100s on this day because they couldn't trade GameStop, but they were mad that it was so easy for these big companies, for these financial companies, these hedge funds, these everybody to just blatantly hurt the general public, the American people, and get away with it. Nobody batted an eye besides saying we need to look into this. There was nobody that put a stop to what was happening or anything, and I don't know that they could. The Fed always can. Jerome Powell and his team always can. And like I said on Sean's podcast, they had come out and said, we don't get in the way of consumer finance. We don't get in the way of what's happening. And so I don't know that they were going to be the ones to step in. But the problem is now we were just facing hedge funds and these brokerages and everybody just getting exactly what they wanted. They halted the market. They halted the buys long enough that the big people could double down on their short position, wait for the stock to die, and then rebuy. And they could get back in and save their own skins and save them at the cost of hurting these millions and millions and millions of people that gathered on Wall Street Bets and gathered on Twitter and gathered on, I'm sure, all over the place that I don't even realize, and just sacrifice what they were doing for the greater good of the hedge funds. And so it sucked. It sucked to see that, but it brought the people together, and it's going to bring action. I think it's still truly going to be the change to the financial industry. I think that we're going to see new regulations come from it. I think we're going to see new laws come from it. I think we're going to see new organization come from it. And I definitely think we're going to see class action lawsuits because they've already started. And obviously nothing's filed in courts or anything like that, but the groups have already started. And I saw something like there's a few thousand people in this Robinhood one already. And even with just the few thousand people, the average loss on it was over $1,200 from each person. And that's not including the potential growth that they would have had. That's just the amount that they each lost. And I didn't have that much in there. I wasn't ready to risk everything I had like so many people were, but it was just, there was a ton that were, and they have filed class action lawsuits and everything already. And Robinhood came out that night. And like I said, the CEO said they were trying to protect people, and they said tomorrow, late, they sent out a message. They sent out an email that said tomorrow, you'll be able to trade these securities again. You'll be able to trade these stocks on a limited basis. And they didn't announce what that was. What did that mean? Did that mean you couldn't trade fractional shares? Did that mean you couldn't trade on margin? Did that mean you couldn't do all these different things? Well, what it ended up meaning today is you got one trade. You could trade those stocks one time and then you were done. And I don't know how many people took advantage of it, but it didn't go up a ton because they still froze the market multiple times. They still froze these stocks in addition to the limit of one buy and things like that. So they were still protecting their hedge fund buddies, but in a way that didn't seem so obvious today. So they had a day to think it through and be like, okay, this is what we need to do differently. And they took advantage of it to the absolute fullest. And so it's scummy. It's scummy to see the American people being the last consideration in the American stock market. It's sad to see that the market wasn't a free market that day, that the market wasn't open to individuals. It was open to only hedge funds. Like truly, for a while, they were the only ones that could trade that stock, and they were doing it to their fullest advantage. And that's crap. That is bogus. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens now moving forward. I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll talk about this because it's such a major story. It's such a big thing that's actually changing finance altogether. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully changes are made for the better, but we'll find out. Whoever knows, right? The other thing I want to talk about today is, do you remember when you were a kid watching Nickelodeon, Channel 40 here in Spokane? They used to move why did they always move the channels around? What was the purpose of that back in the day? But do you remember as a kid, Nickelodeon, Nickelodeon, and how bad, if you were watching all that or something along those lines, Double Dare, how bad did you want to be slimed? How bad did you want that moment where you just sat there and it just rained down on you? Well, I got that tonight. Because my team, my employees at work, last year we made over 150% of our goal. And so the one thing they wanted to do to celebrate was slime me and two other people. They wanted to slime us, and they set the date for today. So they wanted to wait till it wasn't like crappy weather. They wanted to look out for us a little bit there. But they made the slime. They looked up the recipe for Nickelodeon slime. They made 5 gallons of it, which felt like a lot in the moment for sure. But they made 5 gallons of slime. And today after work, that's why I'm doing this so late. Today after work, we went outside and they just dumped this slime on me. And it was so, well, one, you wanted it so bad as a kid. When you get to this age, when you get to be 29 years old, you don't want it as bad. You don't. You look at it as they're doing it and you're like, man, I could, as they're mixing up the slime, you're like, I could live without that. I could live without that in my life right now. I don't need that on top of me. I don't want to ruin my work clothes. I don't want to take off my shoes. I don't want to do any of that stuff. But it did. It happened. And then they dumped it on me. And if you're watching the video, I'll put it in here. When they dumped it on me, it comes down on you. It's so much thicker than you would expect. It's so much heavier and thicker and greener and gross feeling than you would expect. There was oatmeal in it. It smelled like Rice Krispie treats. I don't even know really what happened. I just know I wasn't looking forward to it as much as I was as a kid. And once it was on me, it felt like I had my hood on, because I put on like an old sweatshirt that I didn't really care about, because I was like, I don't know if this is going to stain or what this is going to do. But I put on an old sweatshirt and I thought I had the hood on, and I didn't. It was just that thick on, just sitting on my head like a layer of slime, and it was just everywhere. And I think that they made it a little bit thick. I think it was supposed to be a little bit runnier than that. So they would have had more slime even, which I'm kind of glad we didn't do that. But it was thick and it was heavy and it was gross. And it took me like a way longer shower than I'm used to get it. I don't even know, did I get it all? I mean, do I have green on me still? I hope not. But it was an experience. It was cool, especially after the Nickelodeon game recently kind of got me back into the thought of slime and the seeing the slime and everything like that. So it was fun. So I appreciated that they did that. They took the effort to build the slime. I don't know why I said build. They took the effort to make the slime. And then, of course, downtown Spokane, you're going to find homeless people. This is where we're going to end it because we're almost to the 15-minute mark on Instagram. But you're going to find homeless people. A homeless man walked up and said, what's this slime for? And we're like, oh, nothing crazy. We just tried to ignore it. He goes, can I walk through it? We're like, yeah, sure, guy, go ahead. And he just trounced through it, just happy as could be, as he would watch his footprints get made in the slime. So we made a homeless man's night too with it. So double kudos to my team, making their goal, triple kudos, making their goal, making the slime, making that guy's day by letting him walk through it. Thanks, everybody. I will see you on Monday.